And now to some more breaking news. 6 people have died in fires in Hawaii. Some areas have had to be evacuated because of wildfires fueled by hurricane winds, and some residents were forced to jump into the sea to escape the flames. Local media has described the scenes on the island of Maui as apocalyptic. And we can go live now to Manoa and Clay Trawernick from the University of Hawaii. He is the project leader for the Pacific Fire Exchange and a member of the Fire Science Exchange Network. Clay, thank you for joining us. It sounds like a terrible situation. Just tell us what's been happening.
Well, it's pretty difficult to get direct news off the ground or from the ground because the incident is ongoing, and firefighting resources are spread pretty thin. There's simultaneous fire upcountry Maui as well. So they're spread pretty thin across these incidents, and it's really difficult to really see or understand what's going on directly on the ground.
Can you explain how these fires have spiraled out of control?
Sure. Well, we're sort of seeing the worst case scenario in terms of the short-term weather event that we're experiencing right now. So it is true, we're experiencing high winds and very low relative humidity as the storm passes to the south of the island. So it's kind of drawing in moisture from the air and creating these really high and gusty winds. But sort of the longer term changes that have kind of increased the vulnerability of communities across the state is the fact that we've seen agricultural declines over the past couple decades. And so as the sort of footprint of ranching and plantation agriculture has shrunk, all of those lands have been filled in with these non-native grasses, tropical grasses. And so it creates incredibly dangerous conditions, incredibly challenging conditions. And it's something that we need to be investing in as far as taking actions to reduce that risk. In other words, things that are within our control, but it takes preparedness before these events occur.
As you've been speaking, Clay, we're looking at some images right now of a press conference taking place in Hawaii. Authorities there addressing what is happening. We mentioned 6 people have died, also that people have had to jump into the sea to avoid the flames. What are authorities trying to do at this moment to get the situation under control, rather, and make sure people are safe?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously the priority is human lives first, and then infrastructure. And I think the difference what we're seeing in this fire is the fact that it kind of jumped from these vegetated areas, all the brush around the town, into the town. And once that transitions to houses on fire and structures burning, it's incredibly difficult to suppress. And so, again, when we talk about the mitigation and actions we can take around the landscape, those are all to make the firefighters' job more effective and safer conditions for them to be able to work. And so, again, the combination of long-term changes in the landscape around there, this increase in all these tropical grasslands across the state, combined with these weather conditions, it makes us incredibly vulnerable.
And Clay, last question. How about the area where you are? Are you concerned that you could also see similar wildfires?
Yeah, we're watching. So again, this problem is pretty persistent across the state. We've got about 1 million acres statewide of these sort of tropical savannas, for more or less, and as I said, it's the change around the communities that we've experienced in the past couple of decades that create very, very dangerous conditions, high vulnerability and sensitivity to this sort of alignment of fire weather that we're seeing today.
All right, really troubling news there from Hawaii. Clay, thank you so much for bringing us up to date. Great to speak to you tonight, and we hope, of course, that everyone is safe.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks so much for having me.